Hello and welcome to the Tkinter Let's Make Art tutorial part 3. Today I want to get some of these shapes um, so we can make them in different colors depending on what key we press. And then I want to get some functionality to be able to select which ones we want to manipulate and then get them moving around. And then eventually in some later videos we'll get them rotating and scaling and doing all sorts of cool stuff with them. But for right now, I wanted to show how these doc strings work because I mentioned it in the last video, but I didn't actually um, show it in action how you can get to them from the command line. So it's always good to document your code too, just so you remember the reasons behind why you did certain things, or so if people read it later, they can understand what's going on with your code. So I'm just going to write a little bit something about the display here. This display class inherits from canvas and adds functionality to make points and shapes and respond to key events. So that way we know a little bit about what the display does. And if we wanted to see that from the command line, we could change directory to a project folder and then start the interpreter. And if we import everything from Polyform, or my bad, this is backwards, from Polyform, import everything. And then if we want to print the docstring for the display, we just go print display dot underscore underscore doc. And we could see the docstring that we put on there. We could do the same thing with the make point if we went print and we could get to it that way. If we wanted to see the methods docstrings, we can look at them that way. So so there was that from the last video, and then also I wanted to change how we're storing the canvas IDs in the shapes dictionary, because I did not find a good reason for making this a string. It looks like I already changed this before, but before we had it so that we were storing this as a string, if you were following along with the last video. But I looked through my code. I'm not sure why I did that. I actually made things more complicated later, so I refactored a lot of that in my own code, and I'm going to save us the trouble of having to do that later by just not storing that as a string now. So yeah, now that we have that out of the way, we can start doing the things that we set out to do here. So in this getKeys method, if we want to make it depend on what color or what button we press, what color we want to make the shapes, we can just do a bunch of conditionals here. Like if we do if from the event that we're passing in, the character that was the key we pressed is R. So if we press the R key, we're going to make the shape red. But if we make, say for example, we make it orange if we press the O key. And I just want to kind of show that in action here before we move on. So we'll run our program, and if we press the R key, we'll get a red shape, but if we press the O key, we'll get an orange shape. So we can already see how we can get some color selection in there. I don't want to go through and manually write every single color out because that would just be really boring and I don't think beneficial to anybody. So I have all of these colors copied over here. I'm just going to copy those and paste them onto here. If you Google Tkinter colors, you can see all the named colors that you can use. You can also use hex code colors. You could probably make your own little color picker. We might do that later. It would make for a more robust sort of art program, but there is value in sticking to a limited color palette as well, and I do like these colors. So for now, we'll use these colors. I've got R going to red, O to orange, Y to yellow. I've got all like the primary colors here, and then we've got some more interesting ones like midnight blue and firebrick and violet and goldenrod, sandy brown. This one's like a grayish, even though it says Navajo white. It's like, it's almost, we could see it right now actually if I go in here, I make a shape, press N, we got that. If we want to do L for lavender, we can see I for steel blue. That's a pretty cool color there. I really like firebrick. Firebrick's cool. I like that color. Give it a little orange in there. Anyway, you can see how you can have some fun with that. But so now that we have those colors in there, we can add some functionality to be able to select these. That way we can start messing with the shapes. So I want to add a select method right under make shape here. I'll add a doc string. Say that this is going to respond to right click events. And we're going to put a little flag, call it added. This is going to tell it if we clicked on anything. We're going to make a list, and that list is going to contain all of the canvas objects that we right clicked on, anything under or within 1 pixel of the click. And then with all of the canvas objects in that list. So while that list still has a length, because we're gonna take them out of that list as we process them. And we're going to do that by popping them. And we're going to say if it's not already in the selected array, because if it is already in the selected dictionary, if it is already in the selected dictionary, I'm going to have us just deselect it. That way if we select a bunch of things and then we decide, oh, I want to keep all the ones I selected but just not the last one, we can deselect it without deselecting everything. So if it's, we're going to deal with it differently if it's a polygon or if it's an oval. We have to do that because we've stored the polygons in a dictionary and the ovals in parallel arrays. I thought about it. I'm not going to change that because keeping the vertices in parallel arrays makes it a lot easier to copy the points and make the shapes. So I'm going to take the good with the bad in terms of how we're going to have to deal with that, but I personally find this easier than having to figure out another way to loop through and get all the points to make the shapes. So if it is a polygon, we'll set the canvas ID equal to the shape object and the selected dictionary. Otherwise, and I forgot to put if here. What did I do? I just had a total brain fart. Sorry about that. I will make this, that's not supposed to be there. If it's a polygon, we will set and we'll make it type. I have no idea what I was doing there. If it's not in the selected array and the type of it is a polygon and we will make the canvas ID in the selected dictionary equal to the actual shape object. Otherwise, if it's a oval object, what we'll do is we'll set it equal to the coordinates that that oval is at. So we'll do self.selected at the ID equal to and this is where it gets a little weird. Because these are parallel, I'm just getting the index of what that canvas ID that we're passing in, wherever that is in the verts array, where it or in the vert IDs array, it's going to correspond to the coordinates in the verts array. So that's how it's a little bit different with the dictionaries and the parallel arrays. We're not going to do all that, not nearly as much with points as we are going to do with the shapes. So it's not going to be a big issue. But we might want to do some stuff with the points later. So we'll keep in mind that we will have to do things a little bit differently with those than we're doing with the shapes. But if it's not already in the selected dictionary, we're gonna set an outline for it. It's gonna be a width of 2 pixels, and the color is gonna be gold, which is a color that we're not using in here. That way, we'll always be able to see the outline. But if we get through that whole loop, which wouldn't be much of a loop if we didn't have anything in that overlap, but before that, if it is in the selected array, we want to deselect it. So we'll just an item config is something that we're inheriting from Canvas. It keeps track of all the IDs and makes them available to do some manipulations with later. But we'll set that outline to be nothing. No outline, and we will take it out of the selected dictionary. And basically, what we're going to do, and if we do anything in here, if we clicked on any polygons, any ovals, we're going to set added equal to true, so that we don't deselect everything, which is what we're going to do here. If add is equal to false, meaning that we clicked on nothing. Oops. For cell in, and we're using for loops, we can always, like, this isn't something I've defined before. It's just a temporary variable that we're using for the loop. After the loop ends, it doesn't exist anymore. But as we loop through it, we're going to take that item and we're going to set all of them to not have any outline whatsoever. 0, no color. And then we'll completely clear that dictionary as well. And just to sort of see what's going on, and with the code, we'll print out on the command line the selected dictionary, just to make sure what is on the screen is corresponding to the data we're messing with. And now that we have all that, we should be able to start selecting these shapes and see that visually. So we'll try that. Save this, run it. Oops. I put a period where I meant to put a comma. I always get a little nervous when I haven't run my code in a while, because this happens. Did not put an equal sign there. I don't know how I managed to do that. Either. I'm sorry if you've been pulling your hair out watching this while I make these mistakes, but I have fixed them fairly quickly. And that's not... Oh, because I haven't bound it to anything. So when we get here, we need to actually bind the function. So we'll go self.root.bind. And we will select Did I not make the... Oh, I did not make the dictionary. We will need to make a dictionary for the selected items in the constructor for the display. And there we go. We got it working. So with these running side by side, you can sort of see what's going on here. Making some firebrick, making a black, purple, some hot pink. Forgetting that the canvas ends down here, but we can select all these, and we got them highlighted, and we can deselect by clicking either, say we want to select these, but we just deselect that one, we can deselect that one, or we can click a bunch of them and click on nothing to deselect all of them, and we can see it working in here as well. So cool. We have that. Now we just want to get some basic manipulations with the shapes going. So what we'll do is make a move method for the shapes. And the arguments we'll pass in is the how much we want to be able to move them, or how much we want to move them. And then we'll use the move method that we're inheriting from the canvas to move the actual shape on the screen. So since we're in the shape class and not in the display class, we'll reference the display that we're passing in. And we'll pass into this method the ID of the shape that we want to. So its own ID, because we're altering the properties of shapes. And then we want to update all the points, because we want to be able to access these to do some other manipulations later. So we'll move the points as much as we're moving the shape. And to be able to move these on the display now, we're going to make a method called move selected. And when we have stuff selected, we're going to make it move when we use the arrow keys. Give this a doc string as well. Say it responds to arrow key events. And we'll give it a little bit of a list here telling what the move direction is. And we're going to make that equal, not. And this one we're going to make dependent on the argument that we pass in, how we're actually going to handle the movement. So if we're going up, and movement, and this is pretty common to all computer graphics, is the same with the Java's abstract window toolkit. I imagine it's the same with like C++, SDL and stuff, which I've messed with a little bit, not a whole lot though. But if you want to go down, or if you want to go up, you're gonna subtract, because the way you've got basically like 0, 0 up here, and then as you go right, your x increases, and as you go down, your y increases. So going up is actually negative. So so on the y, if you're going up, you're going to be moving. We're going to make it 2 pixels up for every frame that you're holding down the up arrow for. And then if it's down, we'll go positive on the y for 2 units. If it's left, we'll move left 2 units, and that'll be negative. If it's right, we'll move positive 2 units on the x. And then we're inheriting the type from canvas, which is going to tell us what kind of object we're working with when we pass in the ID. And then another one that we're inheriting is the move method. Or no. Move is the one that we just defined down here in the shape. So so we'll get everything, every shape in selected, every polygon, we're going to move. Right now we're not going to mess with the ovals, just because we'd have to update the points and everything. But we might do that later. If we want to make those kind of manipulations, we might want to make a whole different type of manipulations with those. But we'll mess with that later. Right now I just want to get some shapes moving, so we'll move it with the X amount, and we'll move it the Y amount. And now that we have that, we got to bind it in the constructor. So we're going to do that with anonymous functions, because we're going to pass arguments in. So if we press the up key, so we have these key events, and then we have some that are just specifically for certain keys. And this is how you do an anonymous function. You can just use this lambda keyword and then call the function whatever you want. Makes sense because we're going up. We're going to call it up. And then we'll pass in the argument up to our move selected function. And just to make this a little quicker, we'll copy and paste. Make this, instead of up, we'll call it down. Or this is actually we won't call it that. We'll call it that there, but we need to call it down when we put it in the angle brackets, because those are built-in bindings. Here it's going to be left. And here is going to be right. Okay, thank God I'm still recording. Alright, and hopefully, again, I'm nervous because I haven't run this code in quite a while. Probably have some errors here. Yep. These need to be double equals. Make that purple, that black. If we want to select just these two and move them up, we can move those with the up key, move them down with the down key, move them left with the left key, move them right with the right key. We can deselect one of them. We can now move this one by itself. If we want to deselect that one, we can select all of them, move all of them. And yeah, we've got some more functionality here now. In the next videos, I want to get these duplicating, get these rotating, get these scaling, and really, my idea, where I want to take this is I really want to make some fractal images with these. I want to make it so that we can select some of them and then manipulate them in a certain way, and then have it repeat those manipulations recursively so that we can make some cool patterns and stuff. I think that could make for some cool artwork, and then getting them to export as an image isn't too hard either, so we can get that going also. But yeah, if you got any ideas, definitely definitely give me some suggestions in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video, and there'll be more coming soon. Thanks for watching.